Since the news broke of the school shooting in Tumbler Ridge, BC, Canadians everywhere are experiencing a whole range of emotions. Shock, sadness, and even renewed anxiety about violence in our society. Joining us now to talk through some of these feelings is Janine Hubbard, a registered psychologist. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Janine.
Oh, good morning, Candice. I know it's a heavy morning for everybody.
How would you describe the way people across the country might be feeling in the aftermath of this tragedy?
It actually is a collective grief or a collective trauma, collective mourning, impacting obviously the immediate community and those connected to it, but from coast to coast. This is an event that really has kind of challenged a lot of our thoughts and beliefs, about schools being safe to send our kids, that we don't experience this kind of gun violence in Canada. And so in some ways, kind of very much our foundational beliefs have been shaken for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. What advice do you have for anyone who is trying to process how they're feeling right now?
I think remembering that you probably are having a reaction of some sort. Our brains are hardwired to react to difficult and traumatic news, to stay alert for danger. So odds are most people have, increased adrenaline and increased cortisol flowing through their systems, which can make you more irritable. It can, make you more anxious because you're kind of wired and alert. And unfortunately, it also then causes you to want to seek out more information. Plus, this is such an unusual event that trying to make sense of something also encourages that seeking out information, maybe at times when that's not necessarily helpful or useful for us.
Yeah, what should people keep in mind about their news and information consumption at a time like this?
I think being selective and intentional in your news consumption. So decide you're going to listen to the local morning show or you're going to check a reliable news website at a certain time of day. But go in prepared to be seeing the information and keep it short and monitor how am I feeling afterwards? Do I feel better because I've learned new information or has this increased my anxiety and my distress? Be very careful about potential for misinformation and for unexpected news. So you might think you're looking for cat videos and then suddenly you are seeing, AI-generated images that really are just not helping the situation and are likely to increase confusion and distress.
Mm-hmm. What is it, Janine, that makes us want to know more, even when news is really difficult? Like, why do we as humans why are we drawn to that?
I think in some ways because this feels, I think a lot of us are in a sense of disbelief and going, wait, but how could this happen? Why did this happen? In order for us to make sense of the world and the world to feel really safe for us, we like the world to be predictable. Something like this is so out of the ordinary and so unpredictable. We want the answers to try to help it fit into our, understanding of the world and our own personal safety.
Given that this happened in a school, what impact could this news have on children and teens who might be hearing about these events?
Yeah. Well, and the fact that it involves so many children. So I think it's important to discuss with your kids in age-appropriate language, even the really little ones, just to check in and say, what have you heard? What questions do you have? How are you feeling? Validate those feelings, provide the support, but make sure you are keeping your kids in their regular routine. Send them to school. Schools are an amazing place with well-trained staff who can help them process the big feelings in a safe space with staff and with their fellow students. So I know the tendency for many may be to, try to bubble wrap and, keep them home. And it's really hard for young kids to understand just how rare an event this was so that, their safety and going to their school today, everybody is doing everything they can to keep them safe. And then for older learners or teenagers, again, really checking in with them about the sources of their information and helping to correct any misinformation that they might be hearing.
Just knowing that something like this can happen, though, might be pretty alarming for people. For those who are feeling maybe anxious and less safe as they kind of go about their daily lives because of these events, what should they do?
I think one of the things is keeping in mind we're all kind of in hyperarousal from the news. Yeah. So doing some things to help self-regulate. I've been doing a lot of deep breaths over the last 24 hours just to try to re-regulate, my nervous system. Going for a walk, getting fresh air, exercise, whatever those things are that normally help you with kind of stress management. But also being aware that this could have caused a bit of a, trauma response, and there is no shame in seeking out help and saying, look, I don't know why I'm so upset about this. I don't know anyone involved. I have no personal connections to this. I live on the other side of the country. There are so many tiny connections, whether it's having kids at school, whether it's being from a small community. There are so many triggers that may be impacting people, and they're kind of confused and, like I say, feeling a little embarrassed. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about. If you're having trouble processing this, reach out if it helps to talk to close friends. Reach out for professional assistance if it's needed. But this is something that we are going to be processing for days, weeks, months, maybe even years to come.
Janine, just before we let you go, what kind of support would you like to see for the people of Tumbler Ridge?
Long-term support, because right now, everyone's going to rally, and there's the, huge amount of support in place. But the reality is people are in just getting through the day, getting through the logistics. It's that very acute coping phase. It's as they start to adjust to, whatever that new normal is, as there are anniversaries, as they figure out what's going to happen to the school and, as graduation dates, all of those things occur, it's going to be really important to make sure that there are long-term supports in place.
Janine, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, anytime. Thank you.